3 years ago, a painful exit at the semi-final stage when they lost out on penalties to Italy, but Spain are in the European final and they will meet the winners of tomorrow night's second semi-final between England and the Netherlands. For Didier Deschamps and France, their tournament is over. It's hard to say if they went down fighting either, Didi, because you look at Kylian Mbappe, there are so many other big players who just didn't perform in that second half when they really, really needed them.
No, and they haven't for the whole tournament. And I said a lot of times before, I think they've got one or two gears left. It takes a very good team to knock them out, but they found their master today. And I've got to say, mighty impressed by Spain. There was a procession in the second half, the way they kept the ball. France never managed to get sustained pressure. They had one or two half chances. Obviously, one good chance with Mbappe, which he knocks over the bar. But the way they passed the ball, the way they helped each other, Rodri we showed clips of him before, what a performance. So we've not seen the man of the match, but I'd be very surprised. Obviously, Yamal would be a contender too, but Rodri was absolutely outstanding. The way he controlled the game, brought other players into play, always helped, won the important tackles and challenges. A simply outstanding team performance. The youngsters on the wings done their bit. Morata worked hard. A brilliant team performance, and well deserved to go to the final.
Yeah, it was, because Des talks about a new Spain. They kind of play there like the old Spain, Shay. They were great to watch.
It was a bit of a mixture, isn't it? Old and new. A bit of ticky-tacky, and also they don't mind putting the ball in the box as well.
Yeah.
And shooting from distance, of course. Yamal and Williams have been brilliant again. Look, they deserve to get to the final. France, for me, were very disappointing. And they're going home. Lots of questions, I think, I'm sure, in the French media over the next days and weeks ahead. But take nothing away from the Spanish team. I think the great Alan Hansen once said you get 1-0 with kids. Well, they've got some amazing kids, Spain, haven't they? And they've got some, as you mentioned, we mentioned Rodri beforehand, they've got some experience in there as well. And it's the perfect mix, it's the perfect blend. And you know, I think you could be looking at the winners here. I really do. They play with that much confidence second half. You know, they have no fear of playing against Netherlands or England on Sunday in the final. This is a team full of confidence. Carvajal, you see celebrating there just before as well. He's fully refreshed for the final on Sunday as well. Come back from suspension, of course, as well. So there's emotion, there's tears. I think Laporte's picking his nose up. He have a whack on his nose as well. But I'm sure he'll be fine.
There's a mask going spare. I'm sure he can get his hands on it.
And
what about this man, the man who holds it all together? Because you look at what De La Fuente has done, and I think, you know, just to be able to knit those youngsters, to be able to bring them to a platform where they can actually perform at this level.
Yeah, but also give them the opportunity, because, you know, he could have went for maybe older players and not give the likes of Williams and Yamal, this Yamal character. Oh my God, what a player he is. What can you say about him? His goal was fantastic, and he's just, look at his face, he's enjoying every single moment. And you know what he's still supposed to be studying for his exams. Like, it's just it's such a fairy tale story behind the whole thing.
I'd say the exams are gone out the window, Stephen.
No studying tonight.
No studying tonight for sure.
No, it was, I think, the way they controlled the game second half. That's what you have to, like, you're expecting more from France. You expected France to come out and offer something in the forward areas, the pace they have. Like, at points, Navas went off, Nacho was out to right back, and you think that these are opportunities that France should have been able to get the ball to those wide players and cause problems, but they didn't do that. And then what Spain did is, when they got possession of the ball, they kept it. Ruiz and Rodri in the middle of the park kept the ball so well, just moving it between themselves. And then what they did is they work out, and then they get it to the wide players, who, when taking players on, made the right decision, either go down the line, turn back out, played it back. They went past their man, they kept it. It was just a wonderful display. And you look at Spain, you think they have to be contenders for winning. I think the test was, can they deal with that defence? Defensively, with the players out, can they stop what should be a rampant French team? And they didn't even cause them a problem in the second half. France were so disappointing. Mbappe, Dembele, Muani, second half, didn't lay a glove on them, really didn't. But you can't take anything away from Spain. The way they passed the ball, the way they controlled the tempo of the game, the way they shifted through the gears and then found those wide players in space. It was a wonderful display for them, really was.
Yeah, it was. And I think, you know, maybe they weren't everybody's tip before the tournament, but I think the longer it has gone on, Didi, I think everybody has fallen in love with watching this team.
No, absolutely, and you have to. Because you've got to appreciate, this is football, how it should be played. It's about decision-making, it's about being there for your teammates, being there together and helping each other. And that's what they do. And, you know, they missed their centre-back tonight. They missed Carvalho, who's a huge player for this team. Pedri got injured. He obviously is out of the tournament. But they've been by far the most impressive team in this competition. And I just wonder, whoever they play on Sunday, I just think they keep the ball too well. Because they tired that French team out. I think you saw as well, because you know, there's 20 minutes to go. You've got to throw the kitchen sink. They couldn't even get near them. Griezmann come on. I don't think he broke sweat. So I'm not sure whether there's all well in their French camp, because when he come on, I know he's disappointed he's not playing, but it might be his last tournament. You've got to give it a go. You owe it to your teammates. You owe it to your fans. There's tens of thousands in the stadium, millions watching at home. You owe it to them. And he comes on and he strolls around and maybe wants to tell people, well, I should have been starting. This is not good enough. You know, these are characters, these are players who've been at the top for a number of years. I have to expect better from these players. And Griezmann was usually disappointing. Obviously, it's not his fault because the game was probably lost before. But you bring players on to make a change. And the subs didn't make a change apart from Barcola.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out for them. Going to be facing them. We will find out tomorrow night when England and the Netherlands play in the second semi-final. But Didi, when you look at the quality of the goals that Spain scored, they've scored some brilliant goals in this tournament. But tonight, I think, 2 top drawer.
No, they're worth of goals in the semi-final. This is the first one here. He turned 17 on Saturday. There was talk that he's in Germany. You can't work after 11 o'clock when you're 16 or younger. So they said if he goes to extra time, he may have been taken off. He made sure it doesn't go to extra time. Started off with a wonderful goal. He is 20-odd yards out, curls it into the top far corner. What a strike. And his composure and the way everything he does, he plays like a 25-year-old. You know, what a talent he is at 16 years of age. It's just unbelievable. And then the second, obviously, almost the 2 touches are just exquisite. And we highlighted him before, got that goal in the assist in the game against Germany. Here he's probably got to hand it out where it comes from, or for a corner, but the first touch. And then Tchouaméni doesn't even expect him to go on the outside here. Knocks it past, hits it across goal. I'm not sure whether it does go in. I think it's very tight. But Koundé makes sure it does go in. Yeah, what a piece of skill. And 2 fantastic goals. And we said it, they went behind after a few minutes, and it's always semi-final, you don't know how they react. And then within 15, 20 minutes, they turned their game, and it's the first time that France been behind. And what they had to offer after that, we saw. Very disappointing.
Credit to them as well, Stephen, because, you know, they've had to deal with a lot between injuries, the injury to Pedri, the suspensions. You know, this was a team that was having to go as the tournament went on, to consistently change. And Dani Olmo, one of those players who has really grown as the tournament has gone on.
I think he's been the one coming for Pedri throughout the games, and every game he's come on, he's had an impact. And then he gets a start now because Pedri's out of team. But you think 3 changes from 3 starters in the side, and you kind of think, you worry defensively, are they up to it? I think they were excellent all around. The goals are screaming quality, unbelievable from the players that scored them, but their passing, the way they kept the ball, the way they moved defensively, they look solid, and you're wondering, can they do enough to be the same? And in the second half, they dominated. They limited France to anything, kept the ball, and Ruiz and Rodri in the middle of the park. There's 3 players in there, Kante, Camavinga and Rabiot, didn't get near them. They literally kept the ball. They had those 3 players running around chasing shadows. For 2 players to do that and dominate the middle of the park the way they did was a sensational display.
And all of that just led to France being so frustrated, Shay. And Mbappe, we thought we were going to get something from him. We said tonight was going to be the night. It just wasn't, was it, for so many reasons? It's
frustrating, I think, for French people, but it's even frustrating for neutrals like ourselves watching Mbappe's performance, because it was just so below par. I mean, there's a free kick, it wouldn't have got anywhere near over the wall. Just everything he'd done, Jackie, was so poor. You think the opposite winger get in the box, watch this ball ends up, have a gamble up. He should be arriving on the penalty spot for an easy chance. Here we see him at his best. This is what we should have seen more of. We talked about Navas, the right back, you know, 38 years of age. Get at him, get at him. But again, it's easy to defend against, and frustrating, because you know there's a top player in there. You know he's a superstar, and every time you speak about France, you speak about this guy. But again, too many times, like, this is the perfect opportunity. That was the biggest chance of the night. He's 1v1 against the centre half. He does the hard, but he cuts inside, and Jackie's got the whole goal to hit. He can go keeper's left, keeper's right, anywhere. But it's not even in the same vicinity as the goal. It's like nowhere near the post, crossbar, nothing. It's such a... I don't know what's going on with him. It feels like he's miles off it. Because French people are looking for a player. I mean, I think Didi mentioned maybe off air about maybe taking Mbappe off. And it's just, Deschamps won't take him off. He is a superstar. But on the back of that performance, there'll be a lot more questions, I think, in the next 24 hours than answers.
But could he take him off when you're chasing a goal? Because he'd be vilified then if it didn't work out.
Well, he gets vilified now. He's got to make the tough calls. I would have taken him off. Who cares? It's probably his last game anyway. He's got to, you know, Dembele was the only one where you felt there's something happening. Bakola made a difference. Then it gives you a chance to throw Giroud on. He took him off in the last game, obviously in extra time, I think at half-time. I'm not sure whether he thought about it. I probably would have taken him off, because you've got to make these decisions. Because you can't let... What happens, obviously, it doesn't matter because the tournament's finished and he's probably finished as well, Deschamps. If you protect the big players, the rest of the team will lose respect for the manager. And I think this is always a danger. This is what happened with Portugal. This is a danger in England, which we may see tomorrow. You've got to go after the big boys. And if they don't perform, and you asked before about responsibility and expectations. Well, if we can't expect anything from him, who we expect from? So he's the main man. He's a captain of the team. He's got to do something. He's got to show up. And he hasn't shown up.
But has his form been dipping anyway? You know, we've seen him getting involved in political situations that maybe he didn't need to put himself in. He's got a huge money move, obviously, to Real Madrid. There's a lot more on him than has been in the past. Yeah,
well, the question marks whether his focus is solely on this tournament, and maybe it's not. But it's the things with Mbappe. Even with like that one chance he gets, we're all thinking he's going to score here, and then and you're going. It's so unlike him not to hit the target. It's not what you. It's just what we've come to expect from him on a weekly basis is not what we've seen in this tournament. He's so far removed from it. We talk about the mask, the broken nose, whether that's been affected. But today there was no excuse, and you know there was opportunities where he didn't get the ball to feet. He wasn't giving it. Spain, France didn't play the way Spain did. Spain kept the ball, and then they got it to those wide players in space to get the fullback. France didn't do that. Then Dembele got on it, but Mbappe, you rarely see him. The one opportunity he gets, and you think, right, this is it. He's going to score. And he couldn't take it. So your question marks, why is he like this? Why is he not on form? Sometimes players just have a dip in form, but there's too many players in the French team drop.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Listen, like, he wasn't the only one, because when you look at some of these chances, Stephen, it's not just him who's completely misfiring in this team.
No, there's too many. I said Griezmann is totally off it. He was walking. He came on and was walking on the pitch, and then chances coming in. Yeah, decent chance for a header here. Gets on target, but no real contact. Kante was full of running in the game, but you know didn't offer much in the forwards. Dembele gets the wide area, pulls it back, but goalkeeper again. One thing onto these wide areas was the quality of that high standard. This is probably one of the best chances. Upamecano far post, watches the whole way. This is Griezmann, pulls it back, edge of the box, and Camavinga slides in it, and he's got so much time. Hernandez on his weaker right foot, but you have Griezmann, he could have took a touch, he could have took a shot, but he rashly hits at it, smashes over the bar, and then you look at the Mbappe chance, like opportunities for them to hit the target, test the goalkeeper, and they didn't do that at all. They're really poor the second half.
You're thinking that the second half, like the reaction was Deschamps saying at half time, this French team's going to come out all guns blazing. And we're scraping around 2 or 3 chances there, and they're not even like really clear-cut chances.
And they're just lashing it into the box.
You know, at that stage, it should be like all hands to the pump. As Didi says, throw the kitchen sink at it, you know, forwards, and Simon making loads of saves, last-ditch blocks.
Pressing and trying to get...
Spain were so much in control, and I suppose credit Spain. You know, the press from France as well was really poor, but I don't know if you put that down to how good Spain were, because literally they went to press, they just passed it around corners, they always seemed to have an extra man, and they didn't. But at the same time, it felt like the French players didn't want to press in the end.
But even when they threw the kitchen sink at it, Didi, you know, he puts Giroud on, he goes for it, he tries to mix it up. It seems like they didn't know how to play with the players who were on the pitch. They were trying one thing. When they had really fast players, they didn't play in behind. When they had Giroud, they didn't put it in the box. It was like nobody knew what the game plan was.
Yeah, but that's been the story of the tournament, because they didn't have any float or fluidity to the game. And it was the same when they made the substitutions. It was disjointed from the start, and it didn't get better when they brought the subs on. And you know, Mbappe is the main man, so you look at him and go to him and say, usually the big players, you give the ball to them. But if he gets the ball and he keeps giving it away and not doing anything, because people said he's not been good in the last 6 months, but people said, oh, his move, and it can affect you. But obviously that's all out of the way now. He's going to Real Madrid, so that shouldn't be a distraction anymore. And he's always been mentioned in the same breath as Ronaldo and Messi in the last 3, 4, 5 years. I think to be even named amongst these two, he's got a long, long way to go. And I'm not sure where his path or where his way is going to go. He's going to Madrid, earn an awful lot of money. That's not his fault. Has he got that will? Has he got that hunger to really stay at the top? Because you've got to push yourself every single day. And he doesn't strike me as obsessed as Messi and Ronaldo was when it comes to work ethic or working for the team or doing things. And he's been a major disappointment in part of the reason.
It feels like he's playing with a lot of weight on his shoulders. It feels like there's, you know, you talk about the politics back in France, you talk about the sponsorship deals, you talk about all that, but take all that to one side. Once you cross that white line, Joanne, as a player, it's like then you come. It's freedom. All the distractions, all the noise gets parked behind the white line. You cross the white line, and then that's your happy place in a sense. That's where you enjoy yourself. And it doesn't look to me like he's enjoying himself.
Is he still one of the best players in the world for you?
I think he's got a lot to prove. You know, he's mid-20s now. He's joined Real Madrid. Obviously, he'd be classed as a Galactico. He'd be on astronomical wages. You know, there's a big reputation. I mean, the Real Madrid fans watching this tournament now, you know, if one of them was sat here on the sofa, what would they say after watching that? Is he a superstar? Have they got the receipt? Yeah. I don't know what they would say. There's still a lot to prove.
I think it's a good point what Shea makes, because that smile, that smirk on his face. We haven't seen that for a while. No. When he won the World Cup, he was 19, 20. There was a smile. There was a cheekiness about him, which was just brilliant to see. And when you see him now, it almost looks like work. It's still a game, and I know there's a lot of responsibility for him, but you know, I think it's taken the freedom off him. It looks like he's working football at the moment. That's obviously not what made him good.
I think the thing as well, when you are consistently being put in the bracket of a Messi, Ronaldo, is that pressure, and you would think someone like Mbappe handles it well, but you never know. Now he's going to Madrid, and the expectation is, can he get that goal scoring record? Can he push on the way Ronaldo did and score more goals in his games? Like, is that actually possible for a player like this? On his actual ability and his pace and what we've seen before, glimpses, it potentially is there, but he's dropped off and he's not where he is. He's still a super player. Like this, I mean, there's no doubt. He's 24 years of age. He's got such a longevity left in his career. But there is something there that's just causing it. And he should be the one leading this team. He should be seeing he's playing against Nacho Navas and thinking, right, I can absolutely take these to the cleaners today. And he's not done it. And the French team have just looked off it. Too many players misfiring, and him being the biggest culprit, because defensively being solid, you want your superstars then to get the ball and do something. And he just wasn't there.
Yeah, and they didn't. And it was their decision-making, really, Stephen, in the end. A lot of these examples that you've picked out were happening so often, too often for France.
Well, you think, like, Barcola comes on and Barcola actually changes for him. When he gets the ball to feed, he's direct, he's putting balls in the box. But you look at the options. Griezmann and Mbappe go the same way. Dembele's out the edge of the box. There's no one to aim at. There's 5 red shirts. On too many occasions where they cross the ball into areas where there's no one there, there's no one attacking. This time's come back to Koundé. Everybody across the back. Look at Hernandez. Get yourself in there. Like, you're chasing a game in the semi-final of the European Championships. And then the quality when Dembele getting into wide areas, hitting the first man, and then Giroud comes on and they don't put a single ball into the box for the big man to get on top of. They don't put it wide and get there. And you're kind of thinking, they're just not playing with any cohesion or any collectiveness, and then the opportunities fall like this over the bar from them. But I just think all over the pitch they were misfiring, no collectiveness about them, and no sense of a team. Where you compare that to Spain, and everything they did was pass the ball neatly, create space for the wide players. When they don't have it, will drop back in, defensive unit. Rodri just winning balls, protecting his back four, and then playing the ball forward. Complete opposite to the way the France played. One team that knew exactly what they were going to do from the start to the finish, and France were just trying to be defensively solid and try and play off the cuff in the forward areas, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. So there you have it. One side of the draw is complete. England and the Netherlands will face off tomorrow night for the other place in Sunday's final. Yeah, dramatic night in the end, and it didn't just finish on the pitch either, because we're going to show you some pictures now of Morata being injured by one of the security guards who's trying to stop a pitch invader. Here, you'll see it over there on the right of your screen. There's a pitch invader comes onto the pitch. One of the security guards runs in from the right in an effort to stop the pitch invader. Ends up slide tackling Morata. You can see him there in the top right-hand corner of your picture there. And then you look at this afterwards. Watch him coming off the pitch. He looks in serious discomfort there, Didi. And this is not the first time we've had a pitch invader at this tournament.
Outrageous.
And if he misses a final because of this, there is going to be...
Absolutely outrageous. We see the moron in the blue shirt here running onto the pitch. There's already 4 or 5 security guards there, and one obviously slides. Now is a question, should they not have boots? Because obviously we've seen it a lot. Obviously, it's no good to Morata now. You can't even think about him if you were to miss the final. I think if somebody runs onto the pitch, I'd ban them for life because it's premeditated. There's no reason. You can't say, "Oh, it's been the heat of the moment." If somebody comes on the pitch, and we've seen it in this tournament far too often. We must have had 15 or 20 pitch invaders. If somebody goes on the pitch, obviously it's no good to the Spanish team or Morata now. I'd ban them for life.
But the problem is that's not happening, because it happened in the Champions League final as well, Shea. It's happening in major tournaments. It's some idiot who wants to go viral, and he's getting that, but there's no repercussions.
No, there's no repercussions, and Didi's right, he should be banned for life, because obviously the security done the job, got him stopped there, but at the same time, sometimes he could be carrying something, a weapon or whatever, and cause some damage to the players. But if Morata misses the final on the back of that, after, you know, doing so well as a team, like, because if you watch it again, he's actually his legs planted and his knee twists as the guy goes into the back. I mean, it's totally accidental, obviously, from the security guy. But that could be a tricky, you know, if he's struggling there walking off the pitch. Really, if you see it here, if you see his right knee, it sticks in the ground here, look, and he goes right through the back. I mean, he doesn't actually move because his studs are in the ground, and you can see his reaction straight away. I mean, that's, you know, fingers crossed. We don't know; it's only just happened, like. But fingers crossed he makes the final. But you see him walking off. He's in a lot of discomfort. He's in a lot of pain. And you just hope he's going to be all right. You can see him telling the manager here as well, just coming off, like, I've done something quite bad there, it feels like, you know. So you're sort of touching wood, lighting candles or whatever, but you hope he makes the final on Sunday.
Well, you are, because, I mean, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. You just wonder what's going to happen, Stephen, you know?
It's ridiculous. Like, that's the Spanish captain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, any player that happened to, but, like, if he has to miss the final due to a person breaking onto the pitch and security guard sliding into him, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like the lads have said, a lifetime ban for that person, and it's just, you can't legislate for stuff like this. Like, they're celebrating, they're with their fans, they're trying to enjoy that moment. Like, you've just got to a major tournament final, you can't even be thinking about that. And, you know, for that to happen to a player who's been, I said, I think he came off today, but, like, he's a captain of his country. He's the one that potentially lifts the trophy, and if he's not there because of an insight, this is absolutely scandalous.
And also the manager loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he builds his team around him, doesn't he? He's the main centrepiece. You say he's the captain. He's a real focal part of this team.
He got a lot of stick, and he's done well tonight because obviously he sacrificed himself. They had a lot of defending to do, but he played his part, and that's why he's in the team. Yeah,
well, look, fingers crossed he's okay for the final. Spain are obviously in it, France are not. What is the inquest going to be like there, Didi, in France after this?
Well, they've got obviously a few players who've been around for quite some time, and I think they've got to find, obviously, you've got to think that Deschamps is probably finished, or he has to go. He's been there 12 years. I think he's done well now. You can say, well, he only won one tournament, but he can't plan these things. They need somebody fresh, and then you have to try to build a team around Mbappe or maybe somebody else. Kante's probably won't be seen again, probably. I just feel, is this a team? When I watch them play, and I was hoping that there's something, and I was hoping for the 1 or 2 gears, but again, unfortunately, it was a reverse gear again today, they showed. So I think that where they have to work on is their team spirit. Because when I watch them play, I see, similar to England, I see individuals playing a team sport. There's no cohesion, there's no togetherness, everybody's doing his own thing, and obviously they've got to change it. And it shows how good they are to still get to a semi-final doing that. Well, the next major tournament's going to come around, and they'll be among the favourites again, Shay, because the talent that they have at their disposal is incredible. And I don't know if it will be Deschamps or not, but, like, he has done an incredible job.
I think Stephen said before about for the World Cup. But again, Didi's right in a sense, like, you were just waiting for them to explode, and a bit like England, you know, they sort of stumbled. I'm not say stumbled because you get the semi-final, you're a good team, don't get me wrong, but they never really, you know, set the tournament on fire, didn't they? We thought this is the moment, the semi-final, and the first half was brilliant. I was writing notes down for fun in the first half. This is an unbelievable. This game's amazing. The pen went dry in the second half. I didn't even have to use my pen second half. It was poor, but it showed you Spain were so much control second half of the game. But then again, the other side of the coin is France were so disappointing. Like, they just. Dini's right, you have to question something as a team spirit as well. Like, they weren't pressing in the second half. You know, there should be real urgency about them, and I didn't see it. Well, what about England then? You mentioned them. Obviously, they have the chance of a lifetime tomorrow night, Stephen, as well, to put themselves into a final. And much like France, they haven't performed, but if they do tomorrow night, suddenly it's all open for them. Yeah, it is. And after watching the game today, before this game, I was thinking France and England, they've not been in this tournament. Both teams have been pretty crap, to be honest. They've not played well, but they've still got to this level, and they still potentially could go on to the final. But the way France today, they weren't a team, and an actual team that passed the ball and moved it and worked hard for each other, dictated the tempo of play, were able to get past them. The Netherlands have been more of a team than England have been, and you kind of think if we're going to rely on being defensively solid and then one of your superstars coming out with a goal when you most need it, France fell by the wayside because of that. They just didn't have a game plan to keep the ball. Like, they went 1-0 up, and I thought, okay, Spain could struggle here because if they push bodies forward, they could get after them and really catch them in the counter-attack. Spain scored 2 goals without any reply, and France never did anything, didn't lay glove on them after that. England have been similar, and you kind of think now maybe Netherlands could beat them, because you feel if they're going to rely on those forward players coming up with something, pulling something out of the bag, and they're not a cohesive unit,
it's not going to be enough.
Well, it's funny, you said earlier, Didi, that about Deschamps making that call with dropping Griezmann, that you couldn't see Gareth Southgate doing that. Yeah. He's got a big decision to make now, tomorrow night, in terms of what he does with his own team now.
I think we see the same team pretty much. Obviously, it depends.
Why change now?
Yeah, well, but after the game it might be too late then. This is a call you have to make. He won't drop Kane. I think Kane should be dropped. I think there's a question mark over Bellingham, whether he should play. Gives you a chance to bring Palmer or Anthony Gordon in, who's hardly played any part. But no, he won't. Whether he makes changes if things don't go to plan remains to be seen. But after seeing that today, because I always thought, never forget the best form of a team, and I always felt they've got so many good players. At some stage, they have to start playing. But you also saw tonight, you can't just switch it on like this. You know, it's not, you can't just say, oh, we need it today, now we switch it on. And I think it'll be a similar story with England. I think Netherlands will beat them, and I think the only team that can beat Spain in the final is Netherlands. I don't think England can beat them, but I don't think England will get to the final. I think Netherlands will do tomorrow.
I think the interesting about France and England in similarities is that Southgate and Deschamps were given so much credit for making them a unit and seemed like they actually, the team want to play for their country. When they get into camp, it seems like a place where they actually enjoy it, and that's what has been up into this tournament, whereas this tournament, that doesn't seem to be the case. Both of them seem to be misfiring. Yeah, England are offering a more unified front in the press and the way they're talking about games and how they're saying they've been vilified for their performance, and that seems to have galvanised them slightly, but they're not showing that on the pitch. France, on the other hand, have been the same. They've just not performed well, and I think Deschamps has done so well in the past, because we've questioned France years ago about sometimes when they go into tournaments how they act. There's uproots in the camp and players not getting on well, whereas up until this tournament they've always seemed to be as a team, whereas they seem disjointed. They don't seem to play well together, and it's not good enough. And they come up against
it. It's interesting to see if Gareth Southgate obviously will watch the game tonight, and he'll see in Deschamps, and Didi's right, you can't just switch it off and switch it on. And if they leave it too late tomorrow with team selection or not making subs early enough in the game, because I think he's ready to start with the same team because he doesn't want to change. But he has lots of firepower on the bench, Gareth Southgate. Will he use it and give them enough time? Because he's made subs in 3 minutes to go. I mean, the Bellingham one, he put Ivan Toney on with 2 minutes to go and they were 1-0 down. Like, it was just crazy substitution. But they have got the players, but will the manager let them go and play? I don't know.
Who knows, lads? That is the question du jour. We're going to find out tomorrow night.